There is so much going on with Marvel Studios right now. Robert Downey Jr. is making his MCU return, this time as Doctor Doom. Last night and this morning, Tom Holland has appeared on some big shows like Good Morning America and Jimmy Fallon and has announced that Spider-Man 4 is happening and it's going to begin next summer. Now, of course, we knew this was happening, but it is nice to hear Tom Holland talk about it in such a big way. However, this is not the biggest news that we've received recently. We actually got some news that I think was overlooked because of the cancellation of Blade. And if you did not hear that news, Blade has been delayed indefinitely right now. It's been removed from Marvel Studios' release slate for 2025. It has not been rescheduled, not been given a new release date. There's actually a rumor that says Blade is going to appear in a Midnight Suns movie and they're fast tracking that, but we'll talk about that in a different video. But in the same report from Deadline that told us that Blade was delayed indefinitely, they also posted something else that a lot of people overlooked that I think is actually a really big deal. Towards the end of the Deadline article, it was actually revealed that Marvel Studios announced 3 release dates after Avengers Secret Wars, therefore giving us 3 release dates, the first 3 movie release dates of Phase 7 of the MCU or Phase 1.2. We know the MCU is going to reboot after Secret Wars. It's apparently going to be a soft reboot, so I don't know if they're going to start back at Phase 1 or just continue and call it Phase 7. Either way, this is the next phase of the MCU. There will be a type of reset and a lot of new characters and a lot of new teams are going to be joining the MCU. And Marvel Studios has now actually announced 5 movie release dates after Avengers Secret Wars. And we do have somewhat of an idea of what some of these movies could be, but the biggest thing here is that they appear to be a part of Phase 7, and these movies are going to be after the reboot, because everything should end with Avengers Secret Wars. So just for reference, Avengers Secret Wars right now is slated for May 7th of 2027. Based on everything that we know and based off of everything that Marvel Studios has done in the past, this is the end of Phase 6. When Marvel Studios revealed Phase 6, this was the last movie that was a part of it. And of course, we know what's coming next. Mutants. X-Men, a relatively new universe where the X-Men will be a part of it along with the Avengers and along with the Fantastic Four, maybe even the Inhumans, we'll have to see. But basically, Marvel Studios is in a place where kind of everything can now be used finally. But not too long ago, Marvel/Disney announced that they have films set to be released July 23rd of 2027 and November 5th in 2027. Then on top of that, yesterday we found out 3 more release dates, which are scheduled right now for February 18th of 2028, May 5th of 2028, and November 10th of 2028. Now, based off of kind of a technicality, one of these movies, the first movie to come after Avengers Secret Wars, the one that would be July 23rd of 2027, could technically still be a part of Phase 6. And the only reason I say this is because of Spider-Man Far From Home. Avengers Endgame really ended the Infinity Saga. However, technically listed, Spider-Man Far From Home was the last movie of Phase 3 and therefore the last movie of the Infinity Saga. However, they kind of went back and made it that way. It was originally supposed to be the first movie of Phase 4, but they went back and said it was the last movie of Phase 3. So there could be room for possibly one movie to happen after Avengers Secret Wars. But again, if Avengers Secret Wars ends with a reboot of the multiverse and therefore our main MCU, it doesn't make sense to have another movie take place in the multiverse saga after Secret Wars, unless it's a movie solely dedicated to the restoration of the multiverse, and therefore that would be the movie that resets the MCU. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, I originally thought that these 2 release dates coming right after Avengers Secret Wars in 2027 could still be a part of the multiverse saga, and we might actually get an Avengers Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2. And the reason I thought this is because I didn't think they would announce their release dates for Phase 7 so far in advance, but now that we got 3 more, we know now that is 100% what they are doing. Plus, Kevin Feige has mentioned and confirmed that, yeah, they're working on their new X-Men movie. They've actually had writers audition. They've gotten writers for the movie based off of the info that we know. The last we heard in May was that they tapped Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes writer Michael Leslie to write the new X-Men movie. And Kevin Feige did state at one point in time, whatever they have officially announced and revealed, they have 5+ years more planned out. Which means, since Avengers Secret Wars comes out in 2027, they should have the MCU planned out to 2032. And of course, it is the new phase of Marvel. It's the new saga of the MCU. So they are planning that right now, and these dates are for Phase 7. But what could they be? Well, obviously, one of the safest bets is one of these is going to be an X-Men film. Now, I personally think that they should do solo individual X-Men films, like a movie about Cyclops, a movie about Professor X, and build them up to Professor X actually assembling his X-Men team for the very first time. However, some people think that we should just kick it off with an X-Men movie, and in that movie, they can kind of tell the backstory of how they all got together. I'd love to know your thoughts about this. Which would you prefer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But either way, one of these movies is going to be an X-Men type film, whether it's actually titled an X-Men movie or if it's titled like Cyclops. It'll be about the or a X-Men. Again, Marvel has already confirmed an X-Men movie is in the works. They have their writer, and based off of what we know about Phase 6, we're not getting an X-Men film. We are getting X-Men in the Multiverse Saga, but this is probably going to be a combination of variants and the Fox X-Men, not the new ones. Unless you believe the rumor that Henry Cavill is actually going to be the main Wolverine moving forward in the new universe, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So one of these movies is the X-Men movie. We just don't know the exact date, but since Marvel is working on it right now, it's going to come pretty soon after Avengers Secret Wars. Another one is the Scarlet Witch solo movie. We have heard from a couple of different insiders, My Time to Shine Hello being one of them, as well as Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus, that Marvel Studios has had to move some projects to after Avengers Secret Wars. According to reports, the Scarlet Witch solo film is one of those movies that has to be pushed back. Now, I'm not saying the Scarlet Witch isn't returning until the Scarlet Witch solo movie, because based off of everything that we've heard, she's returning soon and will play a pretty big role in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Based off of what we've heard, she probably makes her return in Doomsday. Sorry to disappoint Agatha All Along fans who were hoping she would show up. I haven't heard anything about that, but I hope to be proven wrong. It's obvious Marvel Studios has some pretty big plans for the Scarlet Witch. Agatha All Along brought in her son, Billy Maximoff, and they made it a really big point to establish that he is indeed the son of the Scarlet Witch. In Vision Quest, we're going to bring back Vision, of course, and then there are the rumors that her other son, Tommy, could appear in Vision Quest. So there's Wanda's entire family. They've set it up pretty big for her to return and finally reunite with her family, but with the events of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, she might not get that reunion until her Scarlet Witch solo film, which again is reportedly coming after Secret Wars. So that movie is most likely one of the first movies of Phase 7 as well. Now, Blade could have been moved to one of these slots. Marvel Studios might just not have announced that. So this could be Blade. This could be a supernatural project of the MCU, possibly the Midnight Suns if we don't get that in Phase 6, or it could be a specific member of the Midnight Suns like Ghost Rider, which TheDirect.com is predicting could take that November 10th of 2028 slot. We last heard a rumor that Ryan Gosling has been cast as Ghost Rider, and if that is true, that means Marvel Studios has plans for Ghost Rider to appear in the MCU relatively soon. And a Ghost Rider movie would be awesome. Now, another one that could take one of these slots is a new Deadpool/new Deadpool and Wolverine movie. There have been reports that Wolverine is sticking around even after Avengers Secret Wars, and that Marvel Studios basically wants to continue to make Deadpool and Wolverine stories, which obviously that makes sense because it was super well received and the movie made a ton of money. So one of these release dates could belong to Deadpool and Wolverine. And in fact, it was announced today by Ryan Reynolds that they are working on something else for Deadpool. Not necessarily Deadpool and Wolverine, but he did post a picture of him and Blind Al in what seems to be a Christmas setting. So I'm gonna assume that we're getting maybe a Christmas special with Deadpool, or perhaps they're gonna kind of do what they did in the past and release a version of Deadpool and Wolverine that is PG-13, which honestly isn't a bad idea for the parents who won't let their kids watch the rated R version. They can at least watch the PG-13 version. But those are our best guesses right now. Go ahead, let us know what you think these Phase 7 movies are going to be. in the comments down below. What are you most excited for and what are you most hoping for? Let us know in the comments. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all things with the MCU, especially the upcoming Phase 7 after Secret Wars. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.